Welcome, and thank you for joining us for part 2 in our troubleshooting series. This is a compilation of tips and tricks gathered from various upperclassmen. We want to help you and other underclassmen to continue to improve your hand skills in your preclinical courses. Keep in mind, this is not a replacement for your lectures nor your clinical instructors, but rather an adjunct. Feel free to adapt any of the techniques as you see fit. There's no particular order for this series, so go ahead and watch any of the segments according to your interests and needs. So with that in mind, click on any of the following topics posted here to dive right in, and we'll see you inside.
Keep in mind, the following clips have been recorded outside of the mannequin to provide you with various viewing angles. The Class 1 prep here was intentionally made with two common mistakes. 1. An uneven pulpal floor, and 2. A narrow isthmus. To open a narrow buccal or lingual groove, move the 329 in a circular motion at a controlled speed. This works well especially at the tip or near the end of the groove. Your isthmus should be at least 1 mm in width. To check, use the narrow end of the Thomson condenser to pass through. There should be minimal resistance. If there is resistance, the isthmus is too narrow and needs to be widened. We suggest using a combination of the 329 and the 838 diamond burr with both the high and slow speed handpiece. Experiment and see what works best for you. The 838 diamond burr is great for opening any deficient areas, such as the isthmus. It also creates a smooth cavernous surface margin. Many operators prefer the 838 for conservative alterations and final touch-ups. This is why many operators prefer the 838 for conservative alterations and final touch-ups. In order to fix any pulpal discrepancies, we found it best to use a pulling hand motion. To start, place the burr in the prep with the ideal depth. Then gently pull the burr towards the shallow end of the prep. You're simply riding the burr up an uphill ramp. Repeat this pulling motion until the depth evens out. A common method for smoothing the pulpal floor is to use a 34 burr latched with a slow handpiece. There's a tendency for the 34 to jump while drilling. To compensate, you may use two hands to stabilize and help control the handpiece. When defining the final outline, be sure to stabilize the burr with a steady fulcrum. The operator in the video follows the natural anatomy of the tooth, starting from the central fossa to the lingual groove, to the buccal groove, then the mesial dovetail, and lastly, the distal dovetail. For the first few attempts, you may find it helpful to mark the grooves of the tooth with a pencil. It will help guide your burr through the anatomy. Once you define the basic outline, open the isthmus to the ideal width of 1 mm. Do this by retracing the anatomy in a conservative manner. Next, take a moment to step back and check for any discrepancies that need to be fixed. In the video, the operator has noticed the mesial pulpal depth is a bit deficient. The operator in the video is now smoothing out any rough cavernous surface margins. Take note, the operator in this video is preparing the tooth outside the mannequin and without a light. This was done for your viewing angle. As a result, your end product may differ. You're always welcome to ask a fellow peer or mentor to demonstrate any of the techniques shown and to provide a prep completed with normal operating parameters. When working interproximally, or attempting to break the contact, a matrix band can be used to protect the adjacent tooth from accidental abrasion. A wedge can also be used to provide more space interproximally for an easier access. Before breaking the contact, prepare the tooth as close to the interproximal as possible, while leaving a thin wall of enamel. This wall will protect the adjacent tooth during your preparation. When ready, use an enamel hatchet to remove the thin wall of enamel, thereby breaking your interproximal contact. To prepare the box prep, move the burr, buccal, and lingual in a pendulum-like motion. This assures you retain a convergent profile. Be sure to incorporate the S-curve on the buccal of the central groove into the box prep. This establishes a 90 degrees angle of the remaining enamel for strength and integrity. The enamel hatchet can be used to remove any sharp or uneven edges. It can also be used to estimate the width of the prep. Most enamel hatchets are about 1 millimeter in width. For further tips and tricks, refer to our box prep video included in this video series. For minor adjustments, the enamel hatchet can be used to help carve and shape the S-curve, as well as smoothen out the general cavus surface margin. To achieve more convergence, exacerbate the angle of the burr. The operator in this video is finishing the prep by extending the box towards the gingiva to achieve proper depth. Finally, reassess the prep and the box, and make any necessary adjustments. Once you finish the prep, have it assessed by a fellow peer or a mentor. Constructive criticism is essential to your growth and improvement. As an example, the operator in the video was encouraged to open the slot buccally to establish a more ideal prep. Welcome to the Class 2 box prep segment. Here we are finishing a Class 1 prep on number 19 for a composite restoration. To optimize your viewing angle, the premolar was removed and the preparation will be done outside of the mannequin. The pencil marks on the mesial indicate where the interproximal contacts will be located normally. Before proceeding to the box prep, be sure you achieve a standard pulpal depth of 1.5 mm using either a 329, 330, 1169, or any other burr preference. Be sure you're satisfied with the general outline of both your cavus surface margin and your S-curve. Lastly, don't forget to smoothen out your axial and pulpal floor as demonstrated here. We recommend either the 329 or 838 diamond burr. Before proceeding, use either a Thompson condenser or a Perrier probe to confirm a depth of 1.5 mm. Now for the box prep. we'll be using a 1169 burr to convert the Class 1 prep design into a Class 2. An initial depth cut of 1mm is being made on the mesial of the buckle floor, measuring a total depth of 2.5mm from the occlusal table. You can measure 1mm on your burr to help visualize your depth cut. The 1169 is a tapered burr, so a natural divergence will be made. To compensate, move the burr in a pendulum-like motion to create a convergence in your box prep. Once the medial depth cut is completed, extend about 1mm towards the distal. Once again, use either a 329 or an 838 on a slow speed to smoothen your margins and your pulpal floor. Your finished preparation should look like the following. Welcome to the Class 1 and 2 prep segment of our troubleshooting series. The purpose of this video is to provide you with a methodical prep sequence to help you achieve the proper dimensions in your box and occlusal prep, as well as your S-curve. With a proficient prep sequence, you will have more time to focus on the actual restoration. In this video, we'll be preparing a Class 2 on number 19 with a 330 burr. The 330 burr has a width of 0.8mm. We found this width to be ideal for establishing the buccolingual dimension of the occlusal prep with minimal passovers. Step 1. Establish the box prep. The operator in this video will prepare the box first. Some may prepare the box later on in the sequence. It's a simple matter of preference. The medial distal width of the box is outlined and dictated by the interproximal contact. An initial depth cut of 1.5mm is made to establish the pulpal floor. Next, an additional 1mm depth will be prepared for the floor of the box. A total depth of 2.5mm should be measured from the occlusal table. After, extend the box prep mesial distally until a width of 1mm is achieved. Be sure to maintain a convergent profile throughout the whole preparation. Step 2. Create a depth cut in the buccal groove. Next, extend towards the box prep following the contour of the central groove. Be sure to focus on creating a smooth buccal wall during this step. Be sure to reproduce the shape and position of the S-curve according to the criteria given by the instructors, such as breaking the interproximal contacts. Step 3. Now create a depth cut in the lingual groove. Extend towards the buccal groove while focusing on creating a smooth mesial wall. Remember, the buccal groove was initially prepared with a 330 burr, which has a thickness of 0.8mm. Be sure to be conservative when you retrace the buccal groove so that the isthmus doesn't exceed 1mm in thickness. Step 4. Next, create a depth cut in the distal fossa. Extend the cut towards the lingual groove, following the contour of the central groove. Be sure to extend the box prep and focus on smoothing the lingual wall of the entire prep. In a similar fashion to the buccal groove, be sure to be conservative when retracing the lingual. This ensures an isthmus no thicker than 1mm. From time to time, you may notice a sharp angle form towards the buccal groove. Simply smooth this angle out by carefully passing the burr from the lingual groove through the central fossa and into the box prep lingually. Step 5. Define the distal dovetail by extending into the buckled groove made in steps 2 and 3. Be sure not to over-prepare by focusing on smoothing the axial wall. This will ensure a proper transition into the groove from the dovetail. Next, widen the mesial distal dimension of the box if necessary. You may notice some protrusions on the pulpal floor at the junction of the Class 1 preparation and the box prep. These are present because the box prep was made first. Simply smoothen the protrusions and flatten the pulpal floor. Be sure to smoothen any sharp angles at the junction.